fans!
Welcome to Just Comics!
Welcome.
I'm Steve.
And I am Seth, and today we are going to look at Superman Peace on Earth just in time for the holidays.
If you're new to Just Comics, we are a read and review channel, but we're also a new channel, so if you don't mind helping us out by hitting like, or you could subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Now, on with the book.
So the book kicks off back on the old farm on Smallville, with Clark reminiscing about time spent with his father, planting seeds for the harvest, and how he used to say, scatter the seeds a few at a time, don't throw them all in clumps, let them fall evenly down the rows, give them enough space. But, which is ironic because this book is basically about Superman throwing clumps everywhere and hoping something sticks.
I thought this shot here with Superman bringing in the Christmas tree to Metropolis was actually really nice.
Yes, and you can tell how much he actively enjoys it because he went out, he found the biggest tree, the biggest greenest tree he could. He brings it in, plants it down, decorates it, makes it all pretty. He's taking the time to make the tree look, gorgeous for his city, Metropolis. And as he flies away, he hears a cry in the crowd.
And there was this homeless girl who was basically passing out from hunger.
And he brings her to a friend who runs a soup kitchen, and the woman guarantees that she'll be taken care of. So the next day, Clark goes down there as himself to do a story, and the woman, Rebecca, offhandedly remarks, "It's too bad Superman can't be there for everyone in need." And Clark agrees.
He tries to keep a low profile, but he does a lot of research on these kind of situations.
And the problem of world hunger, which is a huge problem, really.
And this is something that I think the book just doesn't shy away from, and it shows that it's a multi-layered problem. Because again, it is kind of taking Superman and putting him in as close to a real-world scenario as you can.
Yes, and you can also tell that the author did their research when writing this. They actually went through what it would take to possibly cure world hunger.
But then Superman has an idea and has a meeting with Congress.
And so Superman explains that hunger is a problem, and Congress agrees. And they go, "What are you going to do?" So Superman says, "Well, I am going to be Santa Claus and go around the world in a single day and bring food to all the hungry boys and girls and men and women of the world." And they're like, "Okay, Superman, we're with you."
I mean, how are you going to say no?
You really can't say no to Superman. If he's like, "People are starving," you go, "You know what, Superman, you are right. People are starving. Let's give them food." Absolutely, Superman. Let's give them food. It starts off really well. He reaches out to little communities. People are receptive. He's feeling good about himself. Feeling good about his deeds.
But then he comes to another country here, and he just sees people are bathing in, gutter water and things like that. It looks like, as it starts out, he's really helping some people, and he's just kind of pushing forward, and things seem to be working more than not.
And then a little boy says, "Will you come here tomorrow?"
And that basically breaks Superman's heart.
A little bit, yes. It's the first straw on the camel's back.
As we go through some of this, though, Superman starts running into a little bit more trouble. So first it's in Africa where, animals were stampeding.
When do we get to a despot and his army? And they say, "Yes, we see this food you've got. I assure you, Superman, come down here and give us the food, and we'll make sure that these locals get it." And Superman goes, "No." And then they point their guns.
They don't point the guns at Superman.
No, they don't point the guns at Superman. That's foolhardy. They point their guns at Superman's weakness, people.
And Superman calls his bluff.
And they open fire. But of course, Superman being Superman, he catches the bullets, and then he reduces all the rifles to slag because you don't piss off Superman. So the day continues on, and things just progressively get worse. Eventually, Superman gets to a town that wants absolutely nothing to do with him, even though he's Superman. I mean, if he brings you stuff, you would come out at least just to say, "Hey, Superman, thank you." But they don't want anything to do with him, so he leaves the food, and it becomes food for the rats.
They never mention any specific countries in this, and I'm sure that's by design. But this particular country The public has just been just so beaten down and whipped into such submission that they are afraid to even come out of their houses, even when somebody shows up for food. And then there's other countries where they just won't let him in. They throw rocks at him. They think, he's just trying to trick them with this generosity. So, what the book's trying to highlight, solutions aren't just very simple black and white solutions.
You can't just bring people food and say, "Here you go, be happy." As the saying goes, if you feed a man a fish, he'll be satisfied for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll be satisfied for a lifetime.
And that is literally the same conclusion that Superman comes to at the end of this book.
Now, I want to talk about that too because it's really sad. This is it. This is
Okay.
his breaking point. Like Superman's just had it. The day isn't even over. There's probably still food to distribute, but his last shipment just got destroyed by a rocket. Not only destroyed by a rocket, but destroyed by a rocket that's laced with poison to completely and totally destroy the food and make it sure that any remnant of it is unusable. I mean, these people will hate this so much that they just had to completely ruin it. And Superman's just staring at this ruined food in his hand, and you can tell he's just broken. Like, this broke Superman.
And I think the best Superman stories show that there's a humanity behind the character. He's not always just big, strong guy that's virtually impossible to beat, that he really cares about humanity. There's even a quote from the book that says, "I look upon my powers as a gift, not mine alone, but for anyone who needs them." And I think that really comes through in this story.
Which was the whole premise of this. He wanted to share his gift to try to bring peace on Earth. And it wasn't so much he's trying to cure world hunger in a day. He's trying to show people that it's possible to try to start a movement, is what he's trying to do. But, well, Superman's mission falls short, as the ticker tape goes.
So he decides he's going to run a story and basically gives himself the interview with Superman, which makes sense because he wants to try and get a very specific point across in the news article, which is why he gave no reporters any time of day throughout this whole thing. Sometimes problems that seem simple aren't simple. And all we could do is just continue to try and inspire other people. And that is what Superman is all about. He wants to inspire people.
And he does that by the end of the book by bringing a school full of children to the farm to show them how to plant seeds the right way to do it, just like his father did.
Which was a really nice way to bookend the story.
Absolutely. Hey fans, it's time for
Comic Book Reviews.
So for the story, I felt it's very much quintessential Superman. This is, it's beautiful, it's heartbreaking, it's everything that you want from a Superman book. 5 stars, flat out the gate, absolutely. The art is, honestly, I've never seen a book like this before. It's using a hand-painted style. It's a combination of a picture book and a graphic novel. There's no word bubbles, there's no blam, zam, zow. It's just flat, sentences here, sentences there, a little paragraph here and there, but mostly just displaying his struggles, the people, and the color scheme matches it. It's not bright and flashy like you would expect from a Superman. It's dulled out a bit because it makes you feel and understand the struggle that's going on. It's wonderful. I honestly, I know I always go on, like, if I could give it more than 5 stars, I would. But this time, really and truly, if I could give it more, if our rating system went higher than 5 stars, this one would definitely get a more than 5-star rating. And Mr. Snooty will agree with me, I'm sure. As far as whether or not this is a must-read, yes, absolutely. If you're trying to think of a gift to give to someone who appreciates comics in your life, whether they're young or old, get them this book. It's the perfect time of year for it. It's a perfect book for it. They'll love it, and they'll love you. And if you don't get it for them, they'll hate you forever. Steve?
Story, honestly, this was really, really well written. Paul Dini, though, I mean, this is one of the writers for Batman the Animated Series, which is the definitive Batman in many people's eyes. He also helped co-create Superman the Animated Series. he's no stranger to these characters.
Wow.
And again, he shows that he knows these characters really well in this story. I am giving it 5 stars. I was tempted to go 4.5, only because the story's a little sad. But it was just so well written that I'm still going to give it the 5. The art, Alex Ross is the fuck man. I have always loved Alex Ross ever since Marvels. I mean, I can't think of anything from Marvels on up that I'm not going to give an Alex Ross 5 stars on. So, in case you couldn't guess, yes, this is a must-read, for sure. So, with that, I guess we're putting another Just Comics video to bed. Well, I mean, not really bed, but you know what I mean. If you're sleeping and watching in bed, watching this, I guess, cool, like from your phone or something.
Watch this in bed. Go to sleep listening to our voices. Absolutely.
And you will have happy dreams, not nightmares. Promise.
Well said, Steve.
All right, you guys take care wherever you're at.
Yes, and have a good whatever time of day it is.
See you in the next video.
Bye-bye.
Hey fans, Steve here. So I wanted to apologize for releasing videos out of the normal order that they would come in at. I had food poisoning Thanksgiving weekend, and then the following weekend I caught COVID, and that just put me really far behind on editing. Again, I apologize that things are going to seem a little weird when you watch the different videos and you hear what's coming up next, and it's not in that order.